Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now.
Hi, Miss Carolyn. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Glad to see you.
Yes, we got together.
Yeah, I see you've been busy.
I've been very, very busy.
You've been very busy. That's great. I see that the center is opened up.
Yes, it has opened up, so which is really good. Paul and I are really excited for 2021.
There's been a lot going on though there in Australia. You guys were locked down again, huh?
I know, yeah. A certain situation had taken place through an individual, and however, it was only locked down for a couple of days, which was good. It's a lot longer than the other states, a lot shorter than the other states. But now everything's sort of like back to normal, but we still have certain requirements that we have to fulfill, in order for us to, get on with our everyday lives. So it's very good here. They act very quickly when something takes place, so they don't have, a high percentage of COVID cases.
That's like New Zealand's got it under control, apparently. So our new administration is going to definitely be trying to work with them to get this under control.
They are definitely, I just remembered something actually. They're definitely, a good role model for the world.
They are. Well, Brains, here we are with Miss Carolyn Foat.
That's right.
Look at that. She put me up on the wall, Brains. Okay, that is wonderful. We are here on the edge, and we're going to have another stimulating conversation. That's what I love about my guests. They are so diverse. They are so worldly. They are so smart. They're heady women. And this woman here has been through a lot. She's really been through a lot. And she is taking her time to work with others. She is spending a lot of time and energy and money into getting trained in different modalities to really kind of help us get through this. Down in South Australia, it's different. I've noticed that. Here in the United States, we talk a lot about, Christianity or Buddhism or Muslim or whatever. But I noticed in Australia, they really talk about energy work, core values. Maybe it's because they're at the bottom of the earth and it's a different vortex there. It's a different feeling. But Carolyn is a master at meditation. Do you do Reiki also?
Yes, I'm a Reiki master as well.
Reiki master. And now she is working at a beautiful center. I'm going to let her give us all the details. I was looking at some of her lives that she produces there on Facebook, and she's really been through some trials and tribulations, but look at her. She doesn't have a blemish, a wrinkle, or a frown. And so we want to welcome her right here on the edge today, Carolyn Voat. Vought. How do you pronounce it? Voat?
Voat.
Voat. Voat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I know, it's a very unique name, isn't it?
It is. It's not V-O-T-E, it's V-O-A-T.
No, it's F-O-A-T.
What did I say? See, I done said it wrong. Brains, forgive me.
V-O-A-T. Yeah, it's F-O-A-T. Yes, it's a very unique name, and there's not many, there's few and rare of Foats.
Now, where did that name come from? Was that a married name?
Apparently,
maiden name.
Yeah, apparently from what my husband said, it originated from Ireland. Okay. So yeah.
That's where Mahoney came from.
Oh really?
And I don't look a bit Irish. I don't, but I feel it.
I think we've been in many countries in many lifetimes. That's what happens.
Yeah. Let's jump right into that. Many lifetimes. I was really, before all of this kerfuffle started in the world, I was really looking to go to New York City to work with a group on past life regressions.
Mm-hmm.
And you do some work with that with regards to meditation. I don't know what, there's something from my past life that comes up in dreams or downloads that is calling me to uncover this. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Carolyn, I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know what it is.
Mm. It's interesting, what is actually encoded within us, and Pacific, how we do Pacific habituals or behaviors or certain patterns that we actually do in this lifetime.
Mm.
One of my favorite things is doing timeline therapy.
Mm.
And we actually go through, a process, when somebody has a lot of negative emotions and they're not sure, that's anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. And they're not sure of why this is taking place. When you actually go through your timeline and you actually go down to the root cause of when, the specific emotional event, you get a greater understanding of what is happening right now in this specific time right now, of why things are taking place right now.
Mm.
When you actually go through your timeline to the specific event into the root cause, you can actually identify, of what took place, whether it be in your past, genealogical, or, while you were in the womb or whatever, it gives you a better understanding. You learn the lesson and you actually have a better understanding in order to move forward within your life.
Well, I don't have any trauma. I don't feel like it's trauma. I don't know if I think it's a message that's telling me something that I need to complete. There's something that I need to do in this lifetime. But I'm not fearful of, like I was hurt or I was shot, I was killed, I murdered somebody. I don't feel that. I feel like there is a task that I must complete. And you said something very pointed. You said in the womb. I had a niece, God rest her soul, she passed away. And she was extremely brutal to her fetus inside her stomach. She used to punch her stomach. And she had two other children, and she was not a good mother. She had a lot of, she had a lot of drug issues, and I think she had some mental issues that were unresolved. But people don't realize how much influence there is inside the womb when developing and nurturing a child to bring into this world. You had that experience and you also lost a child. Can you share a little bit about that, if you don't mind, with my brains? Because there's a lot of women right now that are pregnant and they're worried about what's going on with COVID. What is this doing to my unborn child? What is this doing to my fetus? What is this post-traumatic stress that I'm going through? How is that, impacting my child? Can you share a little bit of that?
So basically what it is, it's interesting, that, it's only through my own studies that, and through my own experience, I kind of gave an understanding of specifically what's going on. The child within the womb actually hears, feels, and sees quite a lot whilst it's in the womb. And so therefore it actually is taken on, it's already taken on that information, that child, whilst it's in the womb, through mine, so, through my own experience, yes, I had a child in the 80s, and due to unforeseen circumstances, the child passed away. Now, at the time, they called it cot death, but now they call it SIDS, so... and that was very traumatizing for me at that point in time because I didn't have an understanding. So I went through all that anger, that grief, and I was very traumatized myself, because I had nobody that I could specifically talk to. Basically, you go to a doctor and all they want to do is give you medication. Here's your medication, and that's it. But they weren't really listening to me, and I didn't have a voice. but also at that time, I was also going through domestic violence as well. So
Mm.
I was also dealing with that and domestic violence. And so, you know, I wasn't having that opportunity where, you know, I could grieve properly.
And so when you came to the awakening and said, you know what, I've had enough,
Well,
walked
there was
away.
just, yeah, I had received my last beating. You couldn't recognize my face. I looked like, you know, that the Beauty and the Beast. Well, I looked like the Beast because my face was that smashed up, you know, and it was unrecognizable. And I don't know, you know, I'm a great believer in the universe and everything like that. And I didn't have any control. But what I was aware on that day was that I walked in my bedroom, grabbed hold of a suitcase, packed it, and then grabbed my children and walked away. Now, anybody that's in domestic violence knows it's not an easy thing to do, because even though I open that door, I walk through that door, I close that door. Now, I gave up everything. I gave up my house. I gave up everything because I didn't want it. There was nothing I wanted. I just wanted my two children and I wanted to keep on moving forward. But even after that, you know, even after that, it was sort of like I still had to run, because even though you go to the courts and you get these affidavits, you know, there's some, you know, that was really hard as well, because you had to convince the police at the time that, you know, they were up to misdemeanors. However, you know, that was just a story, a chapter within my life, you know, to where I was. And there was just this innerness, this inner light within me
Right.
that they to keep going forward. Don't stop,
Mm.
because, you know, you're strong enough, you know, you'll get through this. You know, I used to sit there many times by myself and I would listen to this inner voice tell me, you've got the strength, you've got the courage, you'll pull through this. You know, just have faith and hope it will work out.
But you know, you leave with everything and you're still fearful because this person is still looming in the background, and now they're very resentful because
At that point in time,
right at that point in time.
at that point in time. Oh
And
yeah, everybody was upset, because you see what happens behind closed doors. Nobody believes you. When you try to share, and there's a lot of women out there and men, you know, when you try to share what is going on, nobody believes you, because that your partner puts on such a good stage show, we'll say, a
right.
stage show. You know, they have this mask, and as if I don't know what she's talking about, you know, she's a liar, you know, and everything like that. And, you know, you're literally on your own.
And
You
then
know, even
dating
though even
with
though
a
I had even though I had the x-rays and the medical reports and the doctors and the police, I was still classed as a liar.
wow. And in the
Go
80s, it
figure.
was a lot different than it is now. You know, you couldn't get the restraining orders, like you said, and women didn't talk about that. You know, they didn't go to their families and, you know, go to their mother and say, look, mom, this is happening to me. Because in some situations, not in all, you know, mothers will say, you know what, he's a good provider. Nobody's going to take you with those two kids. And look at the lifestyle that you're living. Just suck it up. It can't be that bad. I mean, you put a little rouge over it and it'll be okay. But it
That's
goes
right.
from a flicker to a flame.
Mm.
So you had enough. You walked away and you
Yep.
walked into the light. Tell us about your awakening and a little bit about the great work that you're doing.
Okay, then. So when I moved away, there was my story is very unique. I wanted, my mission in life was that I was alone, and I vowed that I'll never ever let anybody else go through what I went through alone.
Mm.
That was and I stated that on that very day. Nobody will go through this alone by themselves. I have an understanding, you know.
Mm.
So from there, you know, I actually, you know, went to live in Liverpool in England, and where there was a lot of poverty. There was people that didn't have any monies or anything like that, and they were trying to get a loan. Because they lived in a Pacific area, when they go to the banks, they couldn't get a loan because they had a postcode that was, no, don't give them any monies.
Really?
So also they would go to the loan sharks. Well, they would give up their social security books to the loan sharks and they would pay extortionate fees. So there was a core group of us, which, I was one of them, I was made to be the treasurer, to set up a credit union. So the credit union was where people could come in, they could start, put £1 into their account and start building up. They would have to have so much, just a small amount in their credit, in their bank account. And we would, when they wanted a loan, like buy a new fridge or a washing machine or Christmas presents or whatever, we would provide them a loan at a low rate.
Wow.
And that took off. And from then on, I went in to be of service, where I would provide, they called it the Citizen Supplies Bureau, where people were having problems with welfare or, certain products and things like that. So I started off as a volunteer within the community. That's how I started off. Wow. Because there were people out there within the community that needed help, guidance, support, and assistance. And so I started to become a voice for these people within the community. But it was in 1994, and this is where my journey really began. 1994, that's when I went over to Australia. And I had met my partner then, and I flew back to England again, and then I came back in 95. And that's when, I always had this gift. As a child, I always had this gift. I could see, hear, and feel things. But I tried to tell my parents as a child, but they wouldn't listen to me. It's like, shh, don't speak like that. Children are meant to be silent.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Seen and not heard.
That's right. So I never utilized my gift. It was after I lost my child, it really came on a lot. So I could really see a lot of things and feel a lot of things in here. But yet again, because of my gift, it frightened people. So I stayed silent. When I went to Australia in 1995, I walked into this metaphysical shop. I went, oh my God, hello, you are speaking my language. Finally, wow. I don't have to be afraid of my gift. I am who I am, and that's it, So I remember, my first workshop was to do tarot card reading. And because I didn't know about tarot cards then, and I did the tarot card, and I looked at the tarot cards and I pushed the tarot card away and I went, it doesn't mean anything to me. However, I can share this to you. And I remember sharing it to the students, the information that was coming out.
Wow.
And my teacher said to me, you can't do that. I said, when did you decide that I can't do that? I'm sorry. I've had years and years and years. I mean, you've got to remember, I was in my 30s, mid-30s then. It took me from young child to my mid-30s, and we're talking about 20 odd years ago, to actually have a voice, So I started doing it, and then I went into the churches, the spiritualist churches. And I remember one day, because they said, Caroline, you need to give a reading to these people, our members. I went, yeah, sure, And I've never done anything like that to a mass of people. And I remember going on the stage and they gave me a basket of flowers. And I looked at the flowers and I went, but it's dead. There's nothing, it doesn't resonate with me. And then I turned around and I looked at the members and I looked at this basket of flowers and I put the basket of flowers down and I looked at the audience and I went, right, you. And I went, da, 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 and provided that information. What they needed within the moment, So it went from there. And then I've always been in the health field. So I've looked after paraplegic, quadriplegic, psych patients, brain injured patients, intellectual, age, you name it. I've done that because I wanted to give so much to the community, you know, and you got to, you know, I've seen people walk into this field and you know who has a heart and who doesn't.
Right.
All right. So that was interesting in itself. But I remember walking down one day down this street, and it was a glorious day. And this, as I was walking past, this door opened, and I looked and I turned and I walked through that door, another doorway, sliding door moment. And I walked in and I said, "Hello, my name is Caroline, and what do you do?" So they basically turned around and said, "We do massages and everything like that." I thought this will be really good because at the time I was looking after paraplegics and quadriplegics. And I thought this would be really good for them if I could do a bit of, you know, massage on their hands and their feet. So, you know, just give that bit of, you know, additional value to their life because they deserved it.
They do.
You know?
But also those individuals, you know, a lot of times people look at people with disabilities or challenges with a side out.
There was
And
many
they don't
times,
realize that those individuals are really trapped. You know, you see people that have autism. They are stellar in mathematics and, you know, literature and retaining information and recalling information, but they're trapped inside of this human being. Let me tell you a quick story about me. And again, I love to self-disclose because I want people to know that I don't walk around here on the edge thinking that I'm perfect, brains. So this was a judgment, this was a prejudice. And a girlfriend of mine, we were in Hollywood, California, and we were going to a club and we were dressed to the nine and we were in the line. And we see this gentleman in a wheelchair. And he looks very good and he's, you know, clean shaven, got on a nice suit, smelling good. And he rolls up to the club. So I look at her, we were younger then. I look at her and she looks at me and I'm saying, "Oh, wow, you know, I hope he has a good time," because we were about to do it. Carolyn, when we got inside that club, let me tell you, that brother turned it out. He was spinning on that wheelchair. The girls were giving him lap dances. He was sweating. His upper body was doing these moves. I stood in line to dance with him, okay? And I have carried that story with me my entire life because I looked at this person's disability. I did not look at that person's ability. And I did not see what was possible that he could actually do because of the box that I was in, not that he was in. So I learned so much from that. And every time I see anyone with a challenge, you know, if it's a mental illness, you know, that you really can't see what it is, but you know that they're struggling, I step back and I allow myself a lot more space to be a lot more compassionate because I don't know the whole story. And a lot of people
well, I don't look on the external, I look internal because
but it takes time, you know,
they're beautiful.
just, you know, that's a maturity. You know, people just, that's the first thing you see. When I see you, I see a beautiful, you know, almond colored skin, blonde hair. When you see me, you see toasty brown and, you know, whatever hair option I'm wearing that day. But people don't look at that. They don't take the time. And that's really what happens. And again, that is what has been programmed into us. That's our neuro-linguistic programming. That's that lousy conversation that we keep having in our head. You do some work with hypnosis because you've done that as well. Tell us a little bit about hypnosis, and then I'm going to ask you a little bit about meditation. But let's go to hypnosis first.
Well, you know, there's people that, you know, have, you know, it's just going into you know, well, there's different states of trances. You know, there's light, medium, and deeper trance. You know, so it's basically all it is putting a suggestion within the unconscious mind. You know, I have clients, you know, that, you know, have, you know, they want to quit smoking, or they want to lose weight, or, you know, there's basically, you know, performance enhancements. It is dependent on the actual client. So all it is just putting a suggestion within the, you know, the unconscious mind.
And I tell
Changing
people too,
changing that programming. That's all it is.
I've
It's
been
just changing that programming.
Yeah, I've been hypnotized before, and you know, they're not going to make you bark like a dog or quack like a duck, because anything that your body or your mind is not already programmed to do, they're not going to do it. A lot of people are afraid of hypnosis, but I'm telling you, I had a client that was on my show, and she does hypnosis with people that have dementia. And it's very soothing to those individuals because they're, again, trapped in a time warp. Maybe they keep thinking about when they were 15 years old, or maybe they keep thinking about what happened yesterday, or short-term memory. But as she uses this hypnosis, she helps them be comfortable and communicate right where they are, not try to move them somewhere else, but try to understand. And it's so soothing also for the caregivers, because again, I care for my 91-year-old mother, and she's still, you know, her bell still rings pretty good. But for the most part, she told me the other day, she goes, I saw that little girl and her socks were so dirty, and her skirt was, you know, put on backwards. And I said, what little girl, Mom? I couldn't think who she was talking about. But instead of me trying to disrupt her and make her, that's not true, that's not happening right now, and fight with her, I kind of went into that place with her because she was actually living in that moment. And it was so soothing. And then I asked her about 2 or 3 hours ago, I said, have you seen that little girl again? And she goes, what little girl? What are you talking about? So I comfort her in that moment. And that's what we need to do. We really need to learn to resonate and be comfortable in the moment.
Well, you know, it's to ensure, you know, that whoever that you're actually going through this, that, you know, that you emphasize that they're in a very safe environment, and that it's, you know, whatever is modality that you're doing, it's for them, you know, to enhance their health and well-being. So you're creating that self environment, but they're still in control,
right,
in what takes place. They're still aware of what is taking place.
I want to talk a little bit about meditation now. There are so many forms of meditation. I talked to some of my friends and they say, oh no, I can't quiet the monkey mind. I can't meditate. But what people need to maybe kind of connect with before they think about where they're going to go in a meditated state is to connect with the breath. The breath was the very first gift. And anything that we do, I mean, it can be, you know, when you're upset, what does someone say? Just calm down and take a breath. When you're giving birth, be sure that you breathe. When you're exercising, be sure you breathe. When you're doing yoga, connect with the breath. The breath is source.
Life.
It is source. And it's like the coronavirus in a way, because you can't see it, you can't touch it, but you can feel it. And it makes all the difference in your life. Tell us how to prepare ourselves for meditation for people who have never meditated before.
Well, you know, it's yeah. The interesting thing is that words are medicine, and words is also energy. So it's how, you know, you utilize your language to whoever, and everybody is different. Everybody has a different understanding of what is presented to them. So it's how you use and utilize your words. So that's where I first start. I first listen to what it is that the client wants. Okay. Then I actually then have prepared a specific program for them that they feel relaxed, because there are people that come in, you can feel their nervous system is really heightened. The monkey mind is going like that, and they're shallow breathing. So the first step is actually talking to them.
Right. Right. And figuring out what it is that they want to do. What do they want to achieve? Where do they want to go? What is it that they're struggling with?
That's right. So the meditation is actually designed for them where they are at, because none of us are the same. We are all similar, but we're not the same.
So what is the work that you're doing currently now at the center that you're working at? Tell us a little bit about that, because this is a new experience for you.
This is a whole new experience, because like I was sharing before, when that door opened as I was walking, that's when I started to do the massages and then naturopathy and then herbalism, Western herbalism. And then I went on to do acupressure, polarity therapy, cranial sacral therapy. I continued on in my studies because I didn't want to give a part therapy to an individual. I wanted for the whole system of the individual to be covered.
Wow.
All right. Because when somebody comes in, they will come in to say, I've got a sore shoulder. And I'm listening. I'm listening to what they're saying to me. I've got a sore shoulder. Okay, then. I'm listening. I hear that you have a sore shoulder. And then we start chunking down. Okay, we start going down the specifics. But as they're talking to me, the body is also mapping out specific areas where they need additional modalities on them.
Wow.
You see, I'm listening to my client, but I'm also hearing, feeling, and seeing what is taking place in that moment with the client. So I utilize all my tools that I've been studying for so many years, and I map out a plan that is specific for that individual. See, I use my gifts and I use my education and put it into one modality for them.
Now, that's a lot of heavy lifting on you.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because I'm not using my energy.
Okay. All right.
Okay, then. So the interesting thing is that, yes, I've now gone into the Heart Academy of Healing with Paula Darch and we had something similar in common, and that was, with trauma and also losing children and that. So what we're going to do now is actually we're going to design a program for parents or, for individuals that have been through, it's like doing a grieving program, allowing those individuals to go through a grieving process, and for them to be listened to be, to be supported, assisted, and guided. So that's what we're going to do, because, it is the Heart Center, and that's Paula Darch, a Heart Center, and mine is Expansion to Life. I want, when the client comes in and they're in that stuck state and they can't figure out how to get out of it, once I give them the tools and the keys to open up, then they expand their life and they transform.
Wow.
Paula and I have a big mission in life, because now is the time. Now is the time for those changes to start taking place, because they've been there for such a long time. We don't force people to do what they don't want to do. When they are ready, they will come forth and they will be, they will ask for help, and we will be there for them.
Wow.
Whether it be a child, a woman, male, transgender, whatever, we are there for them, and we are going to be the voice for them.
You hear that, Passion Brains? She's going to be the voice for you. She's going to speak loudly. I hope you're listening. Know that you are not alone, and know that you can touch her anywhere in the world. This has been riveting, and I can't wait for you to come back and tell us the progression of the center, because the center is brand new. It's just opened up there in Australia, South Australia. I've had Paula on my show, outstanding guest. So the two of you are going to be a dynamic duo. You're going to be working with children and, gender equality. You are going to be working with women. You're going to be working with men. This is powerful, and it's such a beautiful center. I'm going to post some pictures. I've seen all of the, the wonderful things that you do. You have singing bowls there, and, different types of therapy, group therapy. It's a beautiful place, and I'm so happy for you. I really am. Congratulations.
Thank you, April.
So do me a favor. Do you have your cards there?
No,
Oh,
I don't have any cards. I am the business card.
no, I don't
This
mean
is me.
business card. I mean tarot cards.
No.
Okay. Next time you come, I want you to pull a card for us, because we need some guidance and some insight on what 2021 is going to be like. We're afraid.
2021 is going to be a very, very busy year.
It's starting out.
It's going to be 2020 was it's 2020, and this is for me personally, what I'm getting is that, everything that you thought is not. You had to let go of that idea, because people just got too comfortable and too fixated in their life, and they thought it was going to continue. That's not taken now. The paradigm is shifting. We are shifting, and we're going through an upgrading, I'll say.
Right.
So yeah, it's time. It's changes. It's time for changes. And if people don't think they're going to change, they will change. Believe you me.
Right. Well, whether they want to or not, because change is a constant.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are ever evolving. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, and if you have any programs that you're currently offering, or some online courses, because I want them to work with you. You're amazing.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for this, April.
So tell my brains how to get in contact with you. Do you have a website, or?
I'm on Facebook. That's my social media. So you look at Caroline Foat, or you can go to Expansion to Life.
Okay, brains, you got that? I'm going to put that down at the bottom. Thank you so much, Caroline, for being here on the edge with me and my brains. I'm up in the evening, you're up in the afternoon. Seems like we're worlds apart, we're a day apart, but we are still heart to heart. Thank you so much for being here.
From my heart to yours, April, and to each and every one. Thank you.
All right. Bye, brains.